morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a look at a bunch of new future cards that have been revealed for that new set Cyber Judge over in Japan, and these look redonkulous. We got 3 new EXs, and yeah, it actually includes the entire trio, and that's kind of awesome. I did get a comment on my YouTube video yesterday saying, come on, they never reveal the really good cards during the initial reveal, and I'm afraid that's not true. Now, it was weird yesterday that they only gave us the ace specs and nothing else, but we've got a lot of stuff today, and a lot of this is good. So I want to start off with what I think is the most ridiculous one among them, Iron Crown EX. Because it's got an ability that just says your future Pokemon's attacks, other than Iron Crown EX, deal 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is absurd. This is too good. This is a ridiculous ability. Now, I will say, and I was having a chat with a lovely Anton Billet about this just this morning, this is obviously like the shtick of future Pokemon. Yeah, we've got Future Boost Energy Capsule, which does an extra 20. We've now got this, which does an extra 20. This is clearly the goal. You know, they're not quite as efficient attackers as ancient Pokemon, but they've got the boost. The thing that strikes me about Iron Crown EX is this ability stacks. And I've done the translations myself. I've obviously checked on a lovely Antoine Boulet, but I've done the translations myself here. I am 100% certain this stacks. It 100% stacks. So if you get 4 of these out, that's an extra 80 damage. If you whack a Future Boost Energy Capsule on, that's an extra 100 damage. And I know you're not always going to be able to do that. I know that's a lot of bench space, etc. That's not the point. The point is, every future Pokemon we now look at, we need to look at and go, you know what, mate, that could do an extra 100 damage. And that is something we need to always bear in mind. This is potentially amazing. As for the attack, Psychic, 2 colorless, and it does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, ignoring weakness, resistance, or any effects on the defending Pokemon. Which means it will be able to basically go through anything. As a future Pokemon, a little bit sneaky here, but remember this could actually go through Manaphy, because Manaphy's got an ability. Well, the ability protects it, but this goes through any effects. Of course, the other thing you could do is just hit anything else and ignore the fact Manaphy is even out there. This is very, very good. So we love the ability. And the attack, it's a bit weak, but the fact that it can go through anything and hit 2 different Pokemon is awesome. This is a hands down, flat out, no question, 5 WASSY card, and there's not even really any reason to argue about it. This is pretty clear. But that's not the only new EX we've got. We've also got Iron Boulder. I love Iron Boulder. Terrakion is one of my favourite Pokemon. Iron Boulder is awesome. Also, I did explain this in yesterday's video, but just to be clear again, yes, I know this is a brand new Pokemon from the DLC. I know the DLC came out a week ago. Pokemon have shown us the booster pack with the Pokemon artwork on. They've shown us the EX of the Pokemon. There's no spoiler at this stage. It's been officially revealed by Pokemon. It's out there. I'm sorry. So 2 energy, 60 damage. If this Pokemon takes damage from an attack during your opponent's next turn, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And what I kind of like about this is it's only 2 energy. It's on a basic Pokemon. 240 HP is huge for a basic. I can use stuff like Iron Crown and Future Booster Energy Capsule to put this well above 60 damage. And then if I get attacked, they take 8 damage counters. And what's really important is, it is if this Pokemon takes damage from an attack. So even if your opponent switches their active Pokemon and attacks with something else, that new thing will take the damage counters. They've got to make you switch to avoid it. This could be very cool. We've then got 3 energy, 200, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Although again, the 200 doesn't really matter because you can boost it up to 300 if you really want to. My issue with this is that accelerating fighting energy is not that easy. It's not actually that straightforward to accelerate fighting energy, and that's a problem for me, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, It's just not that easy. You've got Sada for ancient Pokemon. Well, this isn't an ancient Pokemon. It's a future Pokemon. So, yeah, the lack of energy acceleration is a little bit of a problem. I'm giving this one between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Really good attacks. And, it's a future, so it's got all that lovely support. But the reality of the situation is it might need a little too much in terms of energy acceleration. But I did promise you a trio. We've got the third part of the trio. We've got Iron Leaves EX. And it's got a rather nice ability. Once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may switch it with your active. And if you do, you may move as much energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon as you like. We've seen abilities like this before, and honestly, they've always been good. You can drop this as a complete surprise. It's in your hand, and then all of a sudden it's active with enough energy on it. That's really, really nice. Now, the attack does 2 grass, 1 energy, colourless, 180 can't attack next turn, which is fine, but it's actually not that amazing, if I'm honest with you. Now, obviously, you can boost it up, but future decks, grass energy, that's not really a thing at the moment. We're not using grass energy in future decks. So the attack's not that powerful, although obviously it can be boosted. The energy's a bit awkward. I love the surprise factor of this, but this isn't really going to be used in a future deck. It's going to be just used in a grass deck. It is a basic 220 HP Pokemon that can attack for 180 and be dropped out of nowhere as a surprise. I'm not loving it in future decks, but I am loving it in just grass decks generally. So let's again give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Honestly, Iron Crown is a star here for the ability, and I think Iron Boulder has a lot of potential. But we need some fighting energy acceleration, and I feel like I've been sitting here for 10 years saying we need some fighting energy acceleration. Oh, what's that? That's not enough new stuff? You want some more new stuff? Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some more new stuff, including Iron Thorns, and I told you this had to be coming. It was the only Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet base, as in the base game, that didn't previously have a card. Now it does, and I actually really like it. I don't like it for the 4 energy 140, that's way too expensive, but I love it for lightning colorless Destro Press. Look at the top 5, or reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You do have to show your opponent. This attack does 70 damage for each future card you find there. Discard all the future cards you revealed, and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. If you hit this, as in full hit, that's 350 damage. But realistically, you need to hit like 3. Hit 3 out of 5, you deal 210, and then you got stuff like Iron Crown and Future Booster Energy Capsule, which should easily take you up to a multi-prize KO. That's awesome. In terms of energy, we've got Electric Generator. So the energy here is not that difficult to hit. Electric Generator will do fine. You only need to hit 1 energy off it. And yeah, this is kind of absurd, honestly. I adore this. Now, obviously, energy doesn't count here, but you can just pile your deck full of future Pokemon and supporters and all of that, and really boost the damage up here quite nicely. That is absolutely an option. And it's one that I might consider, suggesting you take. Honestly, I adore this. And there'll be times in the game, right, where you can look at your deck and go, half my deck is future cards. Let's go. It's a card that's really going to reward deck knowledge here and deck thinning, trying to get the non-future cards out of your deck. But this is potentially a very good game-ending attack, or even just this is a bad matchup, let's go for it early, you never know, it might work attack. I love this. I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I think this one could be great. I love the idea of having a deck that is largely future cards, and either knowing that the odds are in your favour, or knowing that it's a bad matchup and you might as well because you need a big KO and you need one right now. It's a phenomenal emergency attack, and I love this. But there's one more card I love, and it's nominally a future card, which is important for stuff like Iron Thorns here, but it doesn't really need to be used in future decks. What we've got here is the rather absurdly good Code Breaker's Solution. And what it lets you do is search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle the rest of your deck, and put the 2 cards you found onto the top of your deck. At which point, many of you are going to go, hang on a second here. That's literally Mallow. And yes, that is literally Mallow. It is a reprint of Mallow. This is Mallow. The thing is, Mallow is really good in any deck that's got reliable draw. And we have decks around at the moment that have very, very, very reliable draw. Because you see, we've got, I don't know, argument's sake, Curlier in those Gardevoir decks. Lets you discard a card from your hand to draw 2. So use Codebreaker Solution here, and then you discard a card from your hand with Curlier and get any 2 cards you want in a Gardevoir deck. That's ridiculous. Now, we've also got Lost Zone decks with Comfey. This is a little more awkward, because obviously Comfey, you look at the top 2, 1 goes in your hand, 1 gets Lost Zoned. But essentially what you do here is you search for the card you want, and then 1 card from your deck you definitely don't want. So then you get 1 card in your hand, yay! But then you get a card in your Lost Zone that you know you're going to be okay putting in the Lost Zone, because let's face it, we've all had to put cards we really don't want to in the Lost Zone using Comfey. Here you get the perfect card in your hand, but also don't sleep on the fact that you get a really good card in the Lost Zone, which is actually pretty cool. This is a flat-out 5 Wassy card, and I know Mallow before was fine, not amazing. It saw play in some decks, not others. It was really good in some decks, but other decks ignored it completely. And we're going to see a similar kind of thing here. Not every deck is going to want to play Mallow. However, the decks that do want to play Mallow are going to find it absolutely stunning, and I do feel pretty confident there are going to be enough decks out there that go, oh yeah, no, Mallow's amazing. Basically, any deck that's got reliable draw should be looking at Codebreaker Solution and going, oh yeah, no, that's absurd. I adore this. Oh, while I'm here, as a side note, in a video yesterday, I stupidly said that Refinement Curlier rotates when we get to rotation. Sorry about that. That's definitely not true. That was me being stupid. I apologize. Mirage Step Curlier, for what it's worth, does actually rotate. But no, this one does not. Sorry about that. That was me just having a silly moment. I am well aware it does not rotate. Right, there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Do you think Iron Crown is potentially as broken as I do? Do you think Iron Boulder is a lot of fun? What do you think about all of these cards? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.